Someone recently asked me a really interesting question. If I could go back and restart my author career, what would I actually do? Is there anything that I would do different? My name is Seth. I'm a full-time fantasy author, and I make YouTube videos about being an author. If that sounds like something you're interested in, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss my next video. In Gamelit, the genre I write in, there's this plot trope about somebody who is regressed through their age. They go back in time with knowledge of the future, usually after a failed life, to sort of get a second chance, right? They get a redo. And so I was thinking about that when I was asked this question. What would I do if I went to the point when I had just started my author career, but I knew everything that I knew now? And I actually think this is a really interesting exercise and a really helpful one, even when you're further on in your career, because it helps you identify the really important pieces, and it helps you identify what might just be noise that you're still giving too much time and attention to. And as I was doing this, I had a really fascinating discovery. And that is that there is actually only one single thing that I would tell myself if I was a brand new author. Or if I knew everything I knew now and I went back and restarted, there's only one action that I would actually take, which is a really fascinating thing to discover, considering how many activities I do on a daily basis that I feel are really, really important. So before I give you the one thing that I would do, I'm going to give you 3 pieces that I think are actually very important for an author who's starting their career to pay attention to. Again, these are not the single action that I would take, but these are important things to keep track of. You might say that these are more attitudes or mentalities rather than actions to take, okay? But I think they're going to be really helpful if you're starting your author career, and I know they would have been incredibly helpful in my author career. They're sort of hacks that I've learned as I've gone along. So the first one is be a very active member of your community. And this is easier for some people, harder for others, but it's really important to understand the zeitgeist of whatever small community that you are part of. It's really important to understand what that community likes, especially if you're an author who's trying to sell books to them. If you are a paranormal writer, then make sure that you're part of the paranormal community, that you're staying up to date on what's going on, because that's going to help you as you're writing, make sure that you are relevant to your reader. If you're part of, like Gamelit, for me, there are a bunch of Facebook groups that you can join. There are some meetups. And it's not just important, though, to be a member of the community as a whole and get to know readers. It's actually also really important to get to know other authors. Some of the biggest growth that I've ever had in my career comes not from readers discovering me, but authors discovering me and then shouting me out to all of their readers. Because every time you unlock friendship with another author, you potentially get access to their whole community. Now, I'm not telling you to go out befriending other authors because you want access to their readers, but I'm just saying that's a nice side benefit that comes. And if you are an active member of the community, people are going to want to seek you out. You start to gain some authority in that space. So then the second mindset shift that I had is having a longer view of success. What I mean by that is the faster you need success to come, the less likely you are you're going to get it. And that's just reality. But if you can push your time horizon out 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, the reality is that you will probably be more successful than you would ever imagine. And this actually works for anything in life, not just writing, but it's especially true as an author because everything just takes 3 times as long as you feel like it should. It takes a long time to write a book. It takes a long time to get it edited, to do the audio for it. It takes a long time to find people to read it. It takes a long time for them to read it and then get other people to read it. And the whole process just takes time. And so the further back you can push your goalposts, the point at which you're going to say, I'm either successful or I'm not successful, the further back you can push that, the better. Because you're giving yourself more time to take the actions that are going to have a compounding effect going forward. And then the third shift that I had is not having to try everything myself, being more willing to accept good information and run with it just as is without having to first test it myself. I can be pretty skeptical sometimes, and so if somebody tells me, oh, that doesn't work, or oh, this does work, sometimes I just say, oh, okay, thanks for that information, and then I go and I test it. And in general, while that's a really good idea, it's not very efficient. And so if you're looking to sort of supercharge your author career, what you need to be doing is you need to be finding the people who are successful and you need to be learning from them. And sometimes that means paying them. Sometimes that means getting into a mastermind. Sometimes that means paying for a course. But only do that if the person has a proven track record of success, right? We want to imitate successful action. But when we get that information, instead of saying, is this true? Is this not true? Operate as if it's true and forge ahead. You'll find out really quick if it works or not. And if it doesn't work, great, you toss it to the side. As long as you've given it enough time. Again, remember that second point, pushing out your time horizon for success. So those are the three mentalities that I wish I had. But as far as the action, as far as the strict answer to this question, what would I do if I went and restarted my author career? There's only one thing. I would write more. And I know that sounds kind of lame, but it's true. Writing is the hinge on which an author career is built. You can be the greatest author in the world, and if you don't write books, guess what? People will move on. No matter how good your books are, people will move on. If you don't actually produce work, then people will just forget about you. Or they won't forget about you, and they'll be really bitter that the third book in your series hasn't come out, and it's been like 1 billion years, and what the heck? But I digress. The single action I would take is to write more. And it's not just as simple as writing more, because writing more is going to do 3 different, very concrete, very important things for you. First of all, the more you write, the better you're going to get at writing. That's how it works. There's no amount of craft classes that you can take that will make you a better writer than just sitting down and writing and writing and writing and writing and writing. Just keep writing and you will get better as an author. You're going to start reading back through your stuff and being like, ew, I don't like the way that sounds. And then guess what? Your brain is going to fix it. And one day you'll wake up and you'll say, oh, I wrote that? I wrote that? That's actually pretty good. And the thing is, the more you practice, the better you become faster, right? It's a compounding thing. If I spend 1 hour a week writing, I'm not going to be as good as fast as somebody who spends 1 hour a day writing. But what if I could spend 2 hours a day, or 3 hours a day, or 4 hours a day? And now some people are saying, yeah, but if you're not full-time, that's pretty much impossible. You can't do that. Yeah, no, you can. Stop playing video games. There's your time. Or maybe you don't play video games, but I bet you scroll on your phone. If instead of picking up your phone and scrolling on TikTok, you said, you know what, I'm going to take this time and I'm going to write 500 words. Guess what? You get better faster, because that's how practice works. But the second thing that writing does is it makes the money come faster. See, more good books equals more money. And so the faster you get out the good books, the faster you get the money, right? Now, understand, they have to be good books. You can write as many books as you want. If your audience doesn't like them, then you're never going to sell anything and you're not going to make any money. That's how it is. But if you can write good books, well, you can make great money. So do you see how these things build on each other? First, we have write more faster. Great. If I'm writing more faster, I'm getting better faster, which means I'm getting more good books out of the time that I spend writing. Well, more good books equals more money. That's the rule of being an author. And so by taking this one simple action, all of a sudden, I am starting to accelerate my career faster. And then the most important thing is this is a compounding effect. Just like investing, if you put money in today, you will have more in 10 years than you will if you start tomorrow. And so the sooner you start doing this, the sooner you start practicing, the sooner you start writing more, the sooner you're going to see the result of that. This is something that I actually didn't discover until a little bit later in my author journey. And so I was probably 2 years into it when all of a sudden it clicked. And I was like, oh my goodness, the highest leverage activity I have as an author is just to write more books that are better. And how do I do that? Well, I speed up my writing. I start writing faster. But if I can't write faster, what do I have to do? I have to spend more time writing. But the really cool thing is that as you spend more time writing, you also get faster. And so this compounding effect that as long, again, as you can push that time horizon out, you're just going to get so much more value out of your author journey. To illustrate, when I started writing, I wrote about 200 words an hour. And that meant that I had to spend a really long time writing if I wanted a book. Now I can typically write 750 to 1,000 words in half an hour, or around 2,000 words an hour. And so as you can imagine, my books come out a lot faster. Well, what's really fascinating is I've seen the acceleration of my author career follow the same trajectory as my speed. Now, again, I have to stress this. Writing 2,000 words of garbage doesn't matter. It has to be good. But you will get better as you keep practicing. That's what happened to me. Now, I can't go back and restart my author journey. They don't have a machine for that yet. But if you're a new author, I would really encourage you to adopt these 3 mindsets that I talked about at the beginning of this video and really bear down on this single action that you can take to supercharge your author career. However, be warned, it comes slow. It doesn't just happen instantly. So if you can focus on the single action of writing more, and you can hold these 3 mindsets of being an active member of your community, having a long view of success and being willing to push your time horizon back a little bit further, and being quicker to accept information as true from people who know what they're talking about, success will come. But I want to hear from you. Are there specific things that you would love to go back and tell your younger self? It doesn't have to be about writing, it can be about anything. Let me know down in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button. Again, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.